Hey guys, grab a drink. Today's video is gonna be a hefty one. I do not normally do long form content, but I have lots to talk about. What happened at the Trilogy tour needs to be addressed. Today I'm doing somewhat of a different video that is usually on my channel. Right off the bat, I want to make it clear that I never want to be branded as a drama channel or a tea channel. However, I feel strongly that the topics brought up in today's video does need to be talked about. Also, straight away, as a massive disclaimer, this video has nothing to do with Melanie Martinez herself, her artistry, her performance, her as a person. I hope as you're watching this video, you can separate the artist from the events that happened in the artist's venue, if that makes sense. I also assume her team is not to blame. Honestly, it's really hard to pinpoint who's at fault here, and to be honest, a lot of the issues lie within the fandom itself. Yikes. So if you're sat there wondering what the hell is he on about, I'm basically going to break down chronologically the order of the events, almost like a story time video. I don't know if people do them anymore on YouTube. I feel like that's the best way to get my messages across. I attended the event with my best friend Evie. We had the VIP lounge experience, which came to a total of £388.75. So this included a merch bundle, a museum type of experience, early entry, and access to the front rows in the pit. We have much to discuss about the pit. More like the fucking pits of hell later, but the performance itself was immaculate. My childhood self is very fulfilled and happy. Ultimately, I am lucky to have been there. You know, it's a once in a lifetime thing. She's never gonna perform like that again with those songs. Okay, with all of that out the way, let's talk about the event. First things first, we need to talk about this Subway sandwich that my fat ass scarfed before the event. But just know, it is important. This sandwich is important when I recount the events that unfolded within this day. When me and Evie got to the event, we lined up. You know, it was pretty easy to access, pretty easy to get into. We weren't too early and we definitely weren't too late. Straight away we met one of the most gorgeous Melanie fans ever. Not to sound corny, but they had just like this really nice aura, and me and Evie clicked with them right away. Like, it was instantaneous. It was almost like it was meant to be. So we befriended them. We said, why don't we just all hang out during the lounge experience and the event? So they came to the concert by themselves, so it felt nice to like, okay, you can, you know, hang with us if you want, no pressure, but like, we're in the line with you and we may as well hang out, right? So when we lined up for VIP lounge experience, there was two double doors next to each other. There was one line here and an empty line here. I thought presumably that empty spot would be for another group that would come later, maybe early access. All I knew was we were VIP lounge and we were all lined up. Maybe 100, I think 100, no more than 150 people were there. This woman pops out, she's very nice, she opens the door, she's very friendly, getting us hyped for the concert, and then all of a sudden she says, all the people in this line waiting for the VIP lounge experience, so all of us, had to line up across to the other double doors. So everyone in a frenzy is like,
oh my god, wait, we're in the wrong queue,
and darts for this other door. Because we were all in like a snake line, if that makes sense, with barriers, the people who had been lining up for hours previously were at the front of this line and couldn't just run across and run to the other line. So they would now be at the back of the line that they've just been waiting hours in. To be honest, I don't know why people would wait hours for this queue, only because the experience is still going to be experienced. I don't know why you would line up earlier, but anyway, that's what some people did, I assume, because they were sat on the floor for ages before we had even arrived. We run across, naturally, of course, everyone has ran, so we run to this other line, and there's already screaming, people pointing, going,
that's not fair, that's not fair.
And I was like, oh shit, she has a point. So now basically we're split up into two lines. It's been a bit hectic already. The woman keeps opening the door, saying some things and then shutting it. I can't understand, I can't hear her for one, because everyone's like so confused. But it turns out we were meant to be in that line, so everyone ran back to that line. It was just a massive cock-up, babes, I'll be honest. But would you believe me if I told you it gets 10 times worse? Like, this is just the fucking entrance. This is just entering the building. Honestly, I think I'm getting a migraine at this point, like I'm a bit worried, but it's fine. We move, we're here, we're having a great time. As we're entering, somehow they mixed our line, the VIP lounge experience, with the early access to, you know, line up at 5:30. That means people who didn't even pay for the lounge experience were entering, which is a little bit messed up. I'm not here to gatekeep, like I don't care that I've spent this money and someone who hasn't is entering. That's not the issue. Like, I know I'm honest at the end of the day, like I paid and I'm entering, but like there's there's some people entering when they shouldn't be, which is like a bit questionable, but anyways. So I see this man in a suit and tie basically explaining to them, or trying to explain, the difference between the early access half-5 entry and the VIP lounge experience. He's telling them that there's two separate tickets, but he's not explaining it right. All he's saying to these workers is, he's saying, and I quote, "Let in the people for Trilogy. Trilogy. Trilogy." And he said it so many times, and I was looking at him like, babes, this is the Trilogy Tour. This is the event. That is the name of the event. Anyone who has a ticket, it will say Trilogy. So he's basically saying, just let everyone in. Sorry to this man. He seemed very stressed. He was running around. I mean, I think he was like the boss or the manager because he's wearing a suit. Everyone else is just wearing like staff working stuff. I was like laughing. I was like, babes, I think you've muddled it up a bit. It's fine, we move, I'm entering, I'm fine, I'm grabbing my merch, it's all good. Also, this guy in the suit, sorry to drag him, I'm not trying to drag him, I promise. I had seen at least 5 or 6 people go in who weren't meant to enter, and a worker is asking him,
"Oh, can we unscan tickets because we've been scanning in the wrong people?"
and he's trying to explain the two differences in the tickets, you know? And the man's like, no, you can't unscan them, just let them through. And I'm stood here going, right, so you're just gonna let everyone and their mums in? Like that is mind-boggling to me. Anyways, if you were dishonest and you went in there, nothing to do with me, babes. You get them freebies. Get that merch, sis. So everything so far has felt very disorganized. We've only just fucking entered the building, so it's bound to happen. Like, disorganization at events is nothing new to me. Like, it's fine. Boy, did it get fucking 100 times worse. The lounge experience itself was so worth it. BuzzFree took our time, like we were looking around. It was really nice to see, you know, the costumes. I'm very into production design, even though to some it probably is just a dress. Like, at the end of the day, she's performed in this and it's so interesting to see. I don't know, I was geeking out a little, I can't lie. Yeah, I kind of wish there was more like hearty food, something savory. It was all just like cookies and things, which is fine. Like, the aesthetic and the vibe went great, but like the food itself was just a bit it was alright. So after the experience, we're waiting at the double doors again. We've been segregated into 2 groups. The front people, including me, Evie, and our friend, for the pit. This is the VIP lounge people, so they get pushed right at the front. You know, they've secured the front rows of the pit, basically. And then there's like a little divider, the early access people, so the people who arrived at 5:30. They did double check this, which was good to separate us. I assume they were gonna be let through after us, but like at this point, I don't even know who went through, like whether we all, it kind of felt like we all went through. This is where the actual like danger lies, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I feel a bit dramatic saying it, but like it was fucking dangerous at the end of the day. This was dangerous. I've been to concerts before. I've never been in like a pit of a really big artist or big venue, and this is a new stadium in Manchester. It's the biggest stadium in Europe, I think. Definitely in the UK. It's like even bigger than the O2, and that is like a massive venue. If you've ever been, you'll know. Been to venues before, and I've seen people going into the pit and rush, and they've said to walk, but they've still rushed. But it's like, but I've only ever seen them running from, you know, the doors straight to the pit. Like, no one should be running, but it's like not that long a distance, right? So I did like kind of expect us to run, or like there to be a bit of a push, you know, into the pit. I thought that when they would open the double doors, that would be it. We would be in the venue, we'd be in the stadium. We weren't. No, we had to go down the longest corridor I've ever seen in my life, down 3 flights, not 1, 3 flight, like spiraling stairs, and 2 corridors. And obviously, we didn't walk that. Everyone was fucking pushing, running, shoving down this massive ass fucking corridor, down 3 flights of stairs. You know, people are like dressed up in costumes and wearing like platform boots and heels. There's no safety. There's not one member of staff the whole way. There's one guy telling us where to go, but he's also running. He's shouting, "Walk, walk," whilst fucking being pushed and running himself. So it was actually insane. Like, I know it sounds like exaggeration. We were running for like 5 to 10 minutes. Me and my friends like linked arms, being pushed. People are screaming, people are shoving. I don't know whether this lies within issues with the fans being crazy or like just disorganization. Maybe a mix of both. Again, not one member of staff guiding us like down these stairs. Like, so at this point we're at these doors. There's already people shaken up. I'm looking ahead of me and there's a girl already having a panic attack. Like, there's people crying already. Like, you do have to understand a lot of the fandom, there is like younger girls, and when you're not expecting to have to run to your destination and being shoved and pushed and really like this adrenaline of like, oh no, I need to get to my spot, like I've paid all this money not knowing what's gonna gonna happen? There's so many people probably by themselves. Like, what if you were by yourself? Like, what if you were trampled? What if someone fucking fell down them stairs? Like, I don't think it's dramatic to be like, oh, that was dangerous, because it fucking was. There's a few fans without the wristbands that we needed to get access to the pit, and he's questioning everyone, and he's like, everyone, raise your arms, I need to see your wristbands, I need to see your wristbands, because obviously earlier they just let people in, so there's people without wristbands. Like, obviously that's gonna happen. They didn't care, they just let them in anyway. Like, that's so confusing to me. There's another set of double doors. They open and then we go to the pit. Obviously we're gonna fucking run again because everyone's like wanting to get to that spot. I don't know, I'm just expecting to run again. What I didn't expect though was for him to ask us to raise our hands, show our wristband, go to the pit whilst our arms are still raised, and keep walking to the pit. Obviously no one's walking, so we're all running with our arm in the air like this, trying to show our wristbands, running to the pit. It felt like the Hunger Games. I volunteer as tribute, motherfucker. Like, what is going on? Why were we running with our arm up? Like, what? But I digress. We made it into the pit. We were right at the front. The little barricade thing, the metal thing. My headache was increasingly getting worse, but you know, but you can feel some aircon on at least. You know, that one that supposedly fell a couple months ago. But yeah, finally there's a sense of relief. We've made it to the pit and, you know, we're excited. Now we're gonna do a little bit of a dive into the fandom. There was a certain someone in front of us against the barricade. Let's just say they were a very obnoxious person, which is fine. Like, they're probably excited, they were by themselves. I do not blame them for wanting to make friends. That was their coping mechanism, was like talking a lot and asking a lot of questions and being really excited. This is not anything about their character. I'm not gonna slate someone who's literally fucking prepubescent. Like, the issue, however, did lie with the fact that they were bragging that they had gone in and were against the barricade without having a wristband. So I think they may have been one of the people let in without paying for the ticket. This is speculation because I don't know at the end of the day whether they paid the full price for the ticket. Maybe they just didn't get a wristband. I don't know. But they were very clearly bragging about it, so try and ignore them. My headache is getting worse. I mean, babes, if I was at a concert by myself and had somehow infiltrated the VIP lounge area without having paid for it, I would not be explicitly bragging about that. I would keep that on the hush, babes. I wouldn't be telling people. The room is finally filling up with more people. I've never been in the pit. I've never been at the front of the pit, obviously. My claustrophobia was a bit like, ooh, just be aware that it's gonna get tighter. It's a bit of a squeeze. As the lights are dimming, I look over to our newfound friend. They are looking awfully vacant, very out of it, and I was a bit worried. So I grabbed their hand and I was like, are you okay? All of a sudden I felt them squeeze my hand very tight, and that was it. They were out cold. They passed out to the ground. See, the show has started. I've never seen anything like this, so I'm freaked the fuck out. Me and Evie drop all our shit, like grab our friend who's on the floor. Everyone kind of moves out the way, but they're on the floor. It was very scary in the moment. I had to carry them over the barrier basically with the help of first aid. They were very prompt and they were very good. They knew exactly what to do. They were taken to the medical area, really worried because they've come to this concert alone. I keep telling people they are alone. At this point, I am right against the barricade as I have lifted our friend over the barrier basically, and I'm stood like wondering what to do. I wanted to follow them because I'm worried, but also like was worried that I wouldn't be able to get back into the concert. So I was like, what do we do? All of a sudden I felt this jab in my stomach, in my side. I'm pushed and pushed and pushed out of the way, basically forced back from the barrier. It was the bragging person, and I just looked at them like, what are you doing? Like, why are you pushing me? And I verbalized that. I was like, what are you doing? Like, and they suddenly turned to me and they're like,
Oh, did you want to stand here?
and I was like, no, I don't care, but like I said to them, don't push, like proper aggressive with it. I was like, hello, human decency, ask me to move, ask for your spot back. Like, I wasn't even deliberately standing there, I had just helped someone who had fainted. Like, at this point my stomach is in bits, my headache is worsening, and I feel so fucking nauseous. Luckily it hadn't even been 20 minutes before our friend regroups with us and comes into the pit. We were so happy, I was so relieved. I was like, oh my god, thank goodness you're okay. They had made it back in time to see Melanie as well, which was amazing. I'm so happy for them. them. There was talks at the beginning of the show about not having your flashlight on, and I know Melanie's team has that disclaimer at the beginning of the show. While I understand this, there was a lot of people fainting left, right and centre. I've never seen so many people faint in one area at the same time. Obviously it must have been very hot, squished, people are panicking, it's getting really claustrophobic. Some people are just like engaging in the show, which I understand, like that's fine. People were holding their flash up and going like this if they needed to get assistance for the fainting, saying not to use your flash, but then that is the only way to get like help. I don't know, maybe I'm like misinterpreting that like whole flash thing. I'm really in pain, like my stomach, like I'm kind of even a bit hunched over, like I didn't know whether it was like anxiety or something. I was getting really panicky and really hot and like really like stressed. The adrenaline of seeing Melanie obviously did help, you know, for so long. Major props to the staff for being so quick and like getting people out who had fainted and taking them to the paramedics. Obviously if it weren't for people using the torches and waving, like that wouldn't really have been the case, I'll be honest, because like how are you gonna see someone in behind 10 people on the floor? Like some of the fans were so fucking disrespectful. Like I heard some guy next to me saying like, oh, let them pass out, it's less people in the way. Literally said that, and I just looked at him like, what? It's so weird. I heard so many more remarks from that person, but like loads of other people just like not caring about people fainting, like not passing water down at all. I was so out of it, like I was swaying, I could feel myself swaying, and I was like, oh my god, this is it, I'm gonna faint. No, in my opinion it was worse. Almost puke into the crowd. Like at this point I was like, I do not want to puke in front of all these people in the pit. Like I just don't want to do that. So I was like, I gotta go. Like hopped over the barricade myself, and I had all my stuff, and I couldn't even like tell Evie or my friend, like I couldn't even be like I need to get out of here. Like I couldn't even really walk properly. Like my vision was going. Like the paramedics were really kind to me. Shortly after, Evie, she's a real one, came out with me and had like sat with me in the paramedics, and she was like, oh, like I was so worried for you, of course, like I came to like follow you, whatever. I was like so guilty. I was like, oh my god, you're gonna miss like the portals part, and she was like, don't be stupid, like I've seen it before. Yeah, it did suck that we left the concert early, but like I knew there was something like a bigger issue at play than just like a bit of dehydration and like a migraine. So I said to Evie, like, let's just leave and go back to the hotel. As soon as we had gotten into the hotel, I basically vomited everywhere. It was really disgusting. I basically had food poisoning. But yeah, my Subway sandwich had chicken in it, and it did give me food poisoning. That was just very unfortunate and nothing to do with the event, really, besides for myself personally. But yeah, luckily we got our friend's Instagram, so we could like stay in contact and let them know what happened, you know, and made sure they were okay too. And honestly, to the twat who was in front of me, who had zero empathy for anyone in the space around them, I hope you enjoy not having a signed Melanie Martinez poster, because that's what Evie picked up from the floor underneath your feet, thinking it was mine. So I have a spare one, and it's yours, so what a great happy ending. That was my experience at the Trilogy Tour. I would love to hear your experience if you went. Maybe you go to concerts a lot and this is a normal thing, I don't know. This was my first time in the pit ever, and I kind of want to see people's stance on this. The main issue for me was the running, shoving and pushing to get to the pit. Maybe that lies within the fandom and how crazy they were. I don't know, but it was dangerous. Thank you for watching. I hope I don't get cancelled for this, but I said what I said. Bye.